Hi, I'm Krista. Welcome to my channel. My plan for today was actually to edit the video I have posted that's coming before this one. But when I sat down to work, I got this really intense need to record, and although I don't know what the message is, I felt it was very connected to the divine feminine. It had this very graceful, beautiful energy about it, and I'm feeling the energies of Quan Yin and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene with us today, helping to deliver this message. And if you've listened to my video prior to this one, it was about this I kept getting the words rewilding of the feminine energy. Then I pulled this swan picture out. I actually printed this out to put in my journal, but I felt like the swan energy was coming in, and maybe that was intentional. Like, I just randomly chose this picture one day, but I think it was almost meant to be part of this, what's the word, impulsivity, this impulsive reading. Maybe that's the energy you're feeling right now, this impulsivity to do something that is calling to you right now. I wanted to read what I pulled up about the swan. Swans often symbolize grace, beauty, purity, love, wisdom, and tranquility. They can also represent the soul, divine qualities, and the pursuit of knowledge and transformation. Additionally, swans are associated with awakening self power, balance, inner beauty, innocence, and developing intuitive abilities. So maybe that is something you're going through right now. And then I also heard the phrase swan song. I think that is tied to a death of a cycle in your life, and that the swan is representing the transformation that you've been in and the beginning of this new cycle, and that you are going to be part of this feminine consciousness that's going to move through the planet. And I'm hearing you're part of the lineage of the rose. Because of that, I wanted to start with this deck that has roses on it. I'm hearing Sophia Code. I know that's a book. I know there's a book called Sophia Code. I've never read it, but it may be something that you've read. Maybe the Sophia Code is relevant to your life. I kind of want to look that up before we go. We're just going where the reading takes us today. This is from Google. This is a declaration of your sovereign divinity. The Sophia Code is a visionary sacred text for the divine feminine Christ movement sweeping the planet now. Interesting. And maybe that's why Mary Magdalene's showing up today, too. If you've read that book or know anything about the Sophia Code, I would absolutely love it if you could tell me more about it in the comments. It's really interesting that that's coming through. Okay. Angels and guides, what do we need to know right now? The initiation. Rite of passage, crossing the threshold. I feel like we are being initiated into this divine feminine movement. And here is a snake on this card. And this snake reminds me of the last reading too, where we were talking about like the rising of this kundalini energy in ourselves. And I kind of feel like this snake is protecting, I don't think it is, but to me it looks like this snake is protecting the sacred text. And I'm thinking of like the Mary Magdalene gospel, that the world tried to hide this text from us, but they couldn't, because like the gospel of Mary Magdalene was already planted inside of the divine feminine. So if you're carrying this divine feminine energy within you, you're already carrying these sacred texts within you, and that this is being initiated inside of you. And because of this card, I feel like the world around us is going to get dark. Like things may appear dark on the outside of these world events that are happening, but it's almost like my guides are showing it to me almost like labor of like passing through to this other side. Like we have to go through this, like how the womb is dark. We have to go through this to pass through the other side. And there's water in this card, and that's like tied to emotions. And that to me is tied to the divine feminine. So I feel like we're almost being pushed through this birth canal over to the side of the divine feminine. And part of me thinks that sounds a little out there. What I'm saying now in my logical brain is registering as that's a little out there. But I think we're meeting those two places where the logical brain and your intuitive brain are almost coming together and being balanced. That is going to bring balance to society. Like the balancing of the energies to society. Where right now it's unbalanced towards the more masculine side, and more people are going to be using their tuition, and the pendulum's going to swing over to the feminine side and then eventually balance out. Okay, I'm going to pull from this deck. The sun. There's that rose. Joy, enjoyment, life force, success, vitality, play. I kind of feel like that's representing summer too. Like this is the energy of summer. I have my phone on do not disturb, and yet a call just got through. And I'm feeling go after the thing that's calling to you, the thing that's making you feel that life force inside of you right now, the thing that brings you joy, because that's going to pull you into this light through this initiation. In summer, when the sun's at its highest path in the sky, the rose is at its fullest. Her fragrance is sweet and the fruit is still to come. In this oracle, the sun represents life force energy, vitality, confidence, success, positivity, delight, and the sheer joy of life. After it's left the fertile darkness of the soil, the future rose begins reaching toward the light of the sun, which then plays its part in the nourishing the rose as it reaches for its potential bloom. Yeah, it's that connection again about the womb, like the fertile dark soil of this womb and going towards the light. And I'm hearing God may have had you in this womb space. God may have had you in this womb space even the last couple of years because you were in it to get nourishment, to be nourished before you step out into the world where you are lit up, like to step out into your light, the light of the sun. And I feel like in this time you've learned how to nourish yourself and take care of yourself to become this beautiful swan. I'm hearing you've found yourself. You've found what brings you joy, where before you may not have known. You may have not understood yourself on a deep enough level that you are masking. But now that you're truly in touch with your heart and the things that bring you joy, you're ready to be a beacon for other people to show them how to do it. I'm hearing you found that Christ light within yourself, and other people can see that in you. And when other people see that in you, it helps them see it in themselves too. So just by being you and being how God made you and being proud of how God made you, it is lifting up it is lifting up the world's consciousness. Just by being you and who you were meant to be, it's lifting not just yourself up but everybody up. Is that like all boats a tide, like what's the saying, a tide lifts all boats? A rising tide lifts all boats. That's the saying. I feel like people can see the spark inside of you And it's encouraging them to find that within themselves. I keep going back and forth between these two decks. Okay, we're gonna go back to this one. Trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? Yeah, in this card, it's like she is connecting to the light inside of her. And I feel like there was a really long time where you didn't listen to that feeling and you ignored it. And now that's no longer happening because you went through this initiation. Like, again, it's she was in this dark and now she's color. The color has come back into your life. Sacred masculine. Brothers of the Rose. Sacred masculine, honor, protection, support. Yeah, I feel like the energies are being balanced. And then this is also on the top here. Actually, I'm going to move this too. This one also is on the top. And I feel like these are all connected. This is the Great Mother, surrender to the mystery, fall into her arms. And I really feel like that's the, like this energy that we're feeling today of Quan Yin, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, this feminine energy, the divine Christ feminine energy. And Temple of the Rose, ancient power, expression, activation, scarlet codes. Like I said earlier about like the Mary Magdalene gospel, it's inside of you, and it these code like these divine feminine codes can't be, they could never be taken away because they were already planted within. And I feel like with this card, Brothers of the Rose, that you have a supportive masculine in your life that is helping you with this, or your own masculine energy is balanced and you're supporting yourself through this. And I also feel like it says honor, protection, support, that this is angelic support, God supporting you too, spiritual support. And again, like the womb and birth and all these symbols of like the yoni and this feeling of it's already like it's already a part of you and it's being birthed from you. Like you are part of this rose lineage. Just like how when you were created, you were already cells that were a part of your grandmother. And that's kind of what I'm feeling like with this. Like you, it's not just you on your own, it's this, you're a part of something bigger. And you are the rose. You are the one that gets to bring this to life. Where maybe your ancestors before you were the soil, the womb, the, you know, like the cave, and they've passed that down to you, and you're the one that gets to take this out into the open, and you're being supported through this process, through this activation. Like it was something that was always supposed to happen, and you were the one that was supposed to carry it through. I want to pull from the Quan Yin deck first. What do you need to know about this? Blue Mother, Yellow Mountain, Gibbous Moon, number 33. Okay, I read the guidebook. You may be 33. That may be a sign for you. I'm gonna look up the angel number 33 too. I know 33 is like, to me, it's like Jesus and part of the Trinity. Makes me think of 33 is Jesus. I believe Jesus was 33 when he died, right? Yeah, he was about 33. So I think the 33 is also representing this Christ energy that we've been talking about. Christ light within you. Okay, I'm going to read the guidebook. I reveal the path of grace on sacred earth. Echo of ancient prayers sound forth from the holy mountain. The moon shall soon be full, and darkness filled with light. victory shall be upon you, and the hope that I ignite in your heart shall swiftly become joy of our celebration. Be serene, be peaceful, whilst the power of heaven and earth become the celestial horses driving the chariot of your soul to its divine destiny. Wow. Yeah, again, it's that imagery of darkness into light, like darkness into joy, and like the serenity and peacefulness here with the swan. It is only a matter of time before the light of the sun shall reach its zenith in reflection upon the earth, bringing the fullest extent of solar light into the night sky. And I feel like that you are the light. You are the light coming into this darkness, like getting us out of this darkness, because you found God's light within you. And when you found God's light within you, you realize nothing can stop you. The sun is an ancient symbol for the soul, and the maximum illumination of the soul light in the night speaks of the penetration of the soul to the fullest extent into darkness. It speaks of the ultimate triumph of the true path of your absolute destiny and soul success. Yeah, I feel like you were able to tap into this light because you went to the darkest places inside yourself. You illuminated the shadows inside yourself and brought light to them. And I'm hearing Dark Night of the Soul. Like this may have been something that happened to you when you went through your own Dark Night of the Soul. And that to me is connected with St. John of the Cross and how St. John of the Cross went through this dark night of the soul where he was thrown into prison and in his darkest hours when he was most connected to God. And I feel like that has happened to you. Like, even in the darkest hour, you are still able to see the dawn. Like, you connected with God in such a way in those moments that nobody could take that away from you. And it's making me really emotional, and I don't know if I'm gonna leave this in or not. So let's just, woo, okay. I feel like it's one of those things, like, if you know, you know. If you're here and you feel this, you know that moment that I'm talking about. Like, I don't need to expound upon it because you already know. You feel it in your heart. Okay, back to the guidebook. The Holy Mother's blue robes wrap around the soul now, held within her protection. Whatever attachment has been getting in the way of your actual soul success and authentic fulfillment will be subject to her intervention. I feel like that's this initiation that they're talking about. Not only are you offered protection, but the possibility, even if you are in the midst of great change, to feel a deep sense of peace and trust within. And that's been reflected in these cards before: the honor, protection, support, surrender, the fall into the Great Mother's arms. Like, you are being protected through this process. You will know that whatever is taking place is actually helping you achieve what will bring the most profound joy, even if on the surface things seem to be moving in unexpected or unwanted directions. Any pain shall be transformed into a blessing beyond even your wildest imaginings. There is nothing to fear or resist here, only great blessings to receive. And I think that's because you've already been through your dark night. Like, you've already hit rock bottom, and it's like there's nowhere to go but up. I'm hearing you found yourself. You found yourself, and through this process, you learn to surrender everything to God. And then, through this process of surrendering, you realize that everything can be made good. Like, God is using everything in your life for good. Like, any pain shall be transformed into a blessing. There's a verse that I always go to. It's verse Jeremiah 29:11, and it's, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And I feel like you've lived this. Like, you don't need to read it from the book because you've already experienced it and you've already experienced God's love for you in that moment. And then the prayer for this card: Divine Mother of grace and wisdom, in all of your manifestations of unconditional love, I call upon you. Bless me with hope, with grace, with success. I choose to unplug from circuits of diminishment and plug into circuits of expansive grace. I offer this prayer to all of humanity, and I give gratitude for the unimpeded flow of grace into my life. I celebrate the return of light, and I give thanks for the blessing of darkness that now has me so ready to embrace that light. So be it. Again, I feel that's reiterating what I'm picking up of, like, you went through this dark night of the soul. You alchemized your pain. Like, you and God alchemized your pain, is what I'm hearing. And now you're showing others how to do that, whether by living as an example or being a teacher and actually showing them. Okay, now I want to pull from the Mary Magdalene deck. Darkness makes vision possible. Wow. Darkness is a power of the ego that can convince us we're alone, separate, and disconnected. And I feel like that is specifically also talking about the separation from God. When you were in your dark night of the soul, for a moment you were separated from God. It's that dichotomy of, like, I don't know if that's the right word, but this, like, these two extremes of, like, at one moment feeling completely separated, and I feel like at that moment that's when, like, the divine mother came to nourish you. And then when that happened, you realized how connected you were, like the opposite ends of the spectrum. You went from not feeling connected to knowing everything's connected. Sometimes darkness comes so we can practice a form of vision that becomes possible only when all sources of external light leave. And that's what St. John of the Cross went through. In the Gospel of Mary, after Mary has revealed the secret teachings that Christ gave to her, Peter doesn't believe her. He says, "Has the Savior spoken secretly and not openly so that we would all hear? Surely he did not want to show that she is more worthy than we are." Then Mary weeps and responds, "My brother Peter, what are you imagining? Do you think that I have thought up these things by myself in my heart, or that I am telling lies about the Savior?" Darkness is hard. It's the pain of betrayal. It's the fear of being truly alone. It's the heaviness that comes when we sincerely believe we are not connected anymore to those we must love. Darkness is a very difficult power to be bound to. Within darkness, though, there's a form of vision that becomes available, the most powerful form possible that comes from the light source from within us. And I know that that is what you've experienced, that in that darkness you found that light within you. When those we love the most leave, when we feel cut off from hope, the ensuing darkness gives us the chance to practice seeing the light that originates from within. How do we learn to see in the dark? We use the darkness, that feeling of being cut off from all external sources of love in our lives, to harness the tremendous love that's right here within us always. The love that reminds us of our worthiness just for existing, just for being human. The presence of love that knows us by heart. The presence of love that some of us only find or find again when every other source of love has left us. And I feel like, again, what you found was God's love. Beloved, love never ends. Yeah, when you found God's love, you realized it was unconditional. And maybe that was the first time you actually truly realized that, because maybe things that you had learned or picked up along the way, you felt like you had to act or be a certain way to be worthy of God's love. And those were blocks you were putting up. But you've repaired, like, you've taken down those blocks, and, like, you've repaired those false beliefs, I want to say. I'm hearing like you return to source. And when you return to source, when you stripped all those beliefs away, you were able to see yourself as God sees you, with unconditional love. And when you were able to see yourself in that light, all of a sudden you could ask yourself, like, what do I want? What brings me joy? Because I'm hearing maybe you were holding yourself back from that before because you didn't feel worthy enough to experience that joy. And when you were going through that dark night, for a moment you felt as if you were being punished. Like, of course I'm going through this dark night because that's what I'm worthy of. And I'm hearing you didn't go through that to be punished. It was just, I don't want to say it was just, but I'm hearing you didn't go through that to be punished. You went through that to be born. And again, there's just so many images of like the birth canal and the womb, and it's like you were born into who you were always meant to be. And this is from the guidebook. Death cannot separate beloveds. The form of the relationship radically shifts, becomes subtle rather than incarnate, but continues to grow and increase after death. Beloveds cannot be separated in death from each other because they are not separate from each other in life either. A beloved can never leave us because the beloved exists primarily within. We can give ourselves now in this moment the love we hope to one day live into, the love that brings forth more of the truth of who we already are. A beloved is also who we can be to ourselves. When we love ourselves unconditionally, we create new potential, new life, and exponential hope. Love only ever increases from within us. Love is what never ends. Yeah, I feel like in this loss, you found connection, like the ultimate connection. Connection with God, connection with universe. Like you were able to see the connection to everything and everyone after this loss or this darkness that you went through. And I feel like for some people that was like the loss of a loved one. And for that particular person, your loved one is reminding you that they are still with you. The love cannot be lost. And I feel like they are holding you right now in this moment. And they've held you before. And you felt that. And you weren't sure if that's what it was. But this is validation that that did happen. And they are saying they will always be with you. And to go out and live your joy. To go out and live life. And it's this like light shining out on the card. And it makes me think all of these people that love you are with you. That it's not just your light being projected out, but like a collection of everyone's light. Like you carry them with you. Fun. Yeah, I really feel like you are meant to go out and experience life, to experience joy again. Your guidance is to take time to enjoy yourself, relax, and find your sense of humor. Treat things lightly. Fun brings lightness of spirit. And the most difficult situation can be eased if you see the funny side of things, so cultivate a sense of the ridiculous. How can you bring play, laughter, and fun into your social life, your relationships, your work life? When you have fun, the angels rejoice, for there is nothing they love more than joy, play, humor, and laughter. And I'm hearing that you need to give yourself permission to have this fun. Give yourself permission to have joy. And I also feel like you may have already been doing this, and you see the change it makes in your life. Again, I'm hearing this message of be your wild and wonderful self. And part of me wonders if you're from West Virginia because I think that's the West Virginia state motto, wild and wonderful West Virginia. And like the the mountains in this card too. I'm thinking of Appalachia, like the Appalachian Mountains with the blue, like the Blue Ridge Mountains. And maybe that's also part of your, like, this lineage that they're talking about. You know, in that area, there's a lot of folk magic passed down in the generations. And maybe that's been passed down to you. Or maybe it was lost and you didn't get it passed down. Like, you didn't receive that knowledge, but yet you still found the information. It's that sense of like, it was always meant for you, so no matter what, you're going to find it. And that may be part of like your joy, finding that. Like finding that part of you again. My voice keeps cracking. So it makes me wonder if someone was trying to stop you from doing this. Someone or something. But you couldn't be stopped because you're already blooming. You're already, like, I see this image, and it's like you've been activated, and those codes have already been activated in you, and you're blooming, and it can't be stopped. Like, your beautiful self can't be hidden away anymore. And you've become this beautiful human being. You've alchemized this pain, and you've become this beautiful, bright, joyous being, or are becoming, that people are going to take notice. And it's like back to the beginning of the reading where you are setting an example for others of what is possible. I'm going to close the reading here today. That was a really powerful message. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope this reading has brought you clarity. I would absolutely love to hear from you in the comments, and hear about you and hear about your story. Until I meet with you in the next reading, I am wishing you a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you.